Before I get started, I have a big announcement. Thursday, June 23rd at Cregan's in downtown Jonesboro, there's going to be another open mic comedy night. I'm planning on going, so you should come see me. I'll be expecting you. Welcome to Band Up Comedy. My name is Bryce Moore, and I will not be your comedian. Instead, I've brought on the world's oldest living high school teacher. Born in 1903 in Alabama, Baker Taterman has taught many generations of high school students. These high school students so beloved this man that they affectionately named him Mr. Tater. And Mr. Tater taught Alabama history for 3 years before he moved to Idaho, where he became completely fascinated by the state's history. And he had a story that he wanted to share, and I thought it was really interesting, so I said, come on the show and share it with them. So, without further ado, from Briarfield, Alabama, Mr. Tater.
Wow, thank you, Bryce. Now y'all listen here. I'm going to tell you the true story of how the state of Idaho got its name. Now listen, back around 1879, there was this here railroad. And this here railroad run right through this particular unnamed territory. And this particular unnamed territory was well known for its potato farms. Yes, sir, they could farm baked potatoes. They farmed mashed potatoes, fried potatoes, sweet potatoes, French fried potatoes, and even potato salad. Yes, sir. And they would use the train on this railroad to export their potato products, thus bringing money back into the territory. And they would use the railroad to import other products like butter and cheese and gravy to go with their potatoes, and they imported fuel for their automobiles. Now, this here railroad was run by a young engineer. He ran the only train on this here railroad, and this young engineer had never been late, not a single day in 5 years. Not one day was he late. But on a Monday, June 9th, 1879, the young engineer had just dropped his load and was preparing to pull out when he met a young woman of ill repute. And the young woman said to him,
For the right price, you can show me everything you got.
well, I'd be much obliged to take you up on your offer, but I must warn you, baby, it's quite a lot. And they ran away together. The next day, the train had not moved, but the people were not too worried. Food and supplies were plentiful all through the territory. The man had never been late before in 5 years, so they assumed he probably just needed a bit of a break. And so they did not panic or worry about it. But a few more days went by, and the train had still not moved, not an inch. And the people began to grow more concerned, wondering where their precious engineer could possibly be. They were beginning to run somewhat low on supplies and food, and they feared that without his deliveries, they may not be able to last too much longer. Well, a whole nother 2 weeks went by, and the train sat stiller than an unbothered plate wrapped in a thick blanket in a padded room. Not one person had heard from or seen the engineer. The people had run out of food to go with their potatoes, and nobody wants to eat a plain potato. So they could not eat. In fact, they were beginning to starve. Their supply of gasoline had been all used up, so workers could not get in their car and drive to work. And with the train not running, they were not exporting potato products, and the economy of the territory was beginning to crash. Things were getting so bad that the governor, Mason Brayman, woke up from his sleep and walked outside. "What is going on around here?" His personal informant, Samuel, piped up and said,
"Governor, the engineer who brings us our food and supplies is not being seen or heard from for weeks. Now starvation is killing all the people, and not just the men, but the women and the children too."
"Well, we must go and find him." And the people of the territory split up and searched high and low, looking for the engineer, but finding no sign of him. 4 days they searched, and nobody found nothing. Well, the next morning, they all gathered up right in front of the railroad, and the Governor Brayman, addressed all the people. "Is there anyone who has any helpful information to share with us?"
"Governor, I just received word that the engineer was last seen with a young woman of ill repute."
"Ill repute? Well, what whore is responsible for the disappearance of our engineer?"
"Idaho. He told me he was going to show me everything he's got. Well, everything he had only lasted about 30 seconds. Last I saw, he was still sleeping it off out in the field off that way."
So they went out into the field and located and retrieved the engineer. Then the governor passed a legislation to outlaw prostitution and had the young woman of ill repute arrested for her crimes. After all of that was settled, in order to remind future generations to never, ever allow such a horrifically devastating tragedy to befall the territory again, the people voted to officially name their territory Idaho. That's it for this episode of Band Up Comedy. Thank you so very much for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you again next time.